This podcast is produced by KFTW Fort Worth and is supported by listeners like you. Find out how you can support commercial-free radio by visiting us on the web at KFTW975.org.
Give me a head with hair, long, beautiful hair, shining, gleaming, streaming, flaxing, waxing. Give me down to there, shoulder length longer. Here, baby, there, mama, everywhere, daddy, daddy, hair. Grow it, show it, long as...
Hello, everybody. I'm Mick Perrotti, and this is another episode of A Little Off the Top. I'm here with my two co-hosts today, Judy Keith.
Hello, Mick.
Hey, Judy. And Brian Buffard.
Hi, Mick.
Okay, so we did not quite get the response, and I know Brian is probably pleased about this. Because he doesn't believe in anything. He's a nihilist, people.
That's not true.
He's a nihilist.
No, he believes in some things.
But
I believe in a list that was articulated by Kevin Costner in the movie Bull Durham.
That's a great list.
That's a
although
great list.
he did think that Oswald acted alone, and then he starred in JFK, which was really weird.
Yeah.
So, you know, playing the guy to try to prove...
Crash Davis, I should have said.
Yeah, Crash Davis.
Yeah.
Which was,
Crash.
I mean, that is... I mean, I know Sheldon, knows his baseball and his sports writing, but that is a top name.
That
Crash
movie,
Davis.
Crash Davis.
that is my favorite movie, I think,
Okay,
of
so
all time.
Marcy had never seen it,
Oh, my
and we
God,
just
I
watched
love
it
that
like a
movie.
couple of months ago.
What'd she think?
She doesn't like quote-unquote sports movies, but I think it works. It still works.
I'll walk past Palmer a lot of times and say, Rose goes in the front, big guy.
That's right.
I did not like sports movies until one particular movie
And what was that?
in the 80s.
What was it?
Anybody guess what it is?
Hoosiers.
That is correct.
What was
Yeah.
it?
Hoosiers
Oh,
was
man.
You like
fantastic.
that, huh?
Yeah.
It's Gene
Didn't
Hackman.
buy the Gene
Yeah.
Hackman-Barbara Hershey romance.
No.
But other than that, great
It was a
flick.
good-
Although, who steals the show is Dennis Hopper.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Hopper.
in and
just
out.
About, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish we could talk about positive things like that instead of a few little kind of slightly not so positive, which was our response to getting your hair cut on a full moon. Okay. Let's just say, people, it was no comb-over response. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I think what's happening now in this era that we're moving into, the 21st century, astrology, from any way you look at it, is getting more delegitimized all the time.
Like, when was it ever legitimized?
When
Well-
they prayed to the sun and the moon.
Okay, I will tell you something that was so strange for me. I don't know about this woman. I have no clue what she had going for her. But at one point, when I think it was 81, okay, Palmer, my husband Palmer, decided that he would go to an astrologer because he had heard about, a friend had told him, oh, this woman's great. I berated him for days.
Beforehand?
Perhaps weeks beforehand. He came back with 3 hours of tape.
No.
Okay? 3 hours.
How much was
of
that?
tape. $35.
She's raking it in.
And, okay. And I know. Well, then the friend told her she ought to go up on her prices,
I
so
hope
she
I
did.
hope it was a group thing.
It was so weird, and I swear, she told him, she said, if your wife doesn't get creative, she's going to have another baby. And I thought, well, that's not going to happen. But I had already started writing music and already started thinking about going back to acting and all this stuff. I was really getting creative, and I said, you got to give me an appointment with her. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I don't believe in it.
So she said that unless you don't get creative, you're going to get pregnant.
Unless you do get creative.
Yeah,
Unless you do.
if I don't get creative pretty soon, I'm gonna.
And you said that can't happen. So I'm assuming, A, you couldn't get pregnant.
Well, no, I just wasn't gonna.
B,
She gets to choose.
I get to choose.
Yeah.
everybody gets to choose.
Well, not everybody.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you just were going to stop sleeping with Palmer till this thing was over.
No, I had already started looking around for things to do because I was getting really...
Other than Palmer?
Yeah, other than Palmer. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I guess when she says you're going to get pregnant, you should say, can you be more specific?
Yeah.
But it was very strange. It was very strange. That was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard of, was astrology.
Maybe.
And then after I heard what she said, I thought, how did she know that about me from him? And he didn't tell her squat. Palmer doesn't talk anyway. I mean, very much.
He's got 3 hours of tapes.
He has 3 hours of tapes. It was him. It was her.
It was
talking
her
to
doing
him
all the talking.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Weird.
and I think what we should have done, and I'm going to blame my producer on this one.
You can blame whoever you like, Mick. It's your show.
That we probably could have had a professional on here, explaining the lunar hair moon a little bit more.
A professional what?
Astrologer.
Yeah.
And they would have convinced Brian. If you could think about it, if somebody could have came in here and convinced Brian. Because the knowledge that they had. I'm going to be honest, people. I knew way more about the comb over than I did about the full moon hair cutting because the comb over's real.
Well, yeah.
And I didn't believe in the full moon until clients were telling me about it. And I always kind of pushed them off. Now I'm even less believing of it.
Right.
Like it's like when I feel like I'm Shaq now when they come in here. I'm just swatting it away. Don't bring that stuff in here.
That's right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Big Shaq.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Here's what we got for today. We kind of went. Once you bring up Bull Durham, it kind of turns everything around.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about political styles. What these people can do that maybe takes them over the top. Okay? And we do want to talk about tattoos. See if we can't fuse the political style and the tattoos together. Mm-hmm. Brian mentioned about where people get tattoos and what are they trying to explain with that, or what they're trying to...
Yeah.
And
I'm going to sound judgmental, I know.
Well, and
I already know that in advance.
I will say this, that all of us here grew up in a generation, we're all pretty much the same, where when people got tattoos, back when we were younger, there was really only a few categories of people who got tattoos. You were in the military. Mm-hmm. You were a biker. Mm-hmm. You were in prison. Or you probably danced at some gentleman's club. Right? And I would say...
I knew a couple of strippers, and none of them had... all three of them,
right.
None of them had tattoos.
And it doesn't mean that if you fall into any of those four categories, that you get tattoos. But they were very much specified. I would say 95% of the tattoos in 1975 or 65 came from those four categories. Okay.
By 75, people were getting tattoos that were sort of in the activist hippie
movement.
the
hippie. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And that could fall under biker and or that look.
Yeah.
Long
you got military in there.
We've got military, prison, bikers, and or kind of the hippie movement.
Type. Yeah.
And then gentlemen's club.
Although,
strippers.
like I said,
all right.
None of the strippers I knew had tattoos.
No.
Certain aspects of show business and our thing.
Yes. So for us, we've had to branch out. Like all three of us are pretty liberal-minded, and I think we have the ability, even though we can still see something and it triggers one of those four categories. I know Brian will talk about this because he obviously sees a lot of people that are criminals and or in prison.
I see a lot of prison/jail tattoos.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not. On the other hand.
So now, like when we see them on young kids or young girls or people that are trying to look sexy or cool, it's still hard for us. Or I know I can speak for myself. I still have to kind of wrestle with that image that I want to put in there with people that have tattoos. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I realize I have to take them out of that image. So Brian, you kind of see ones that fit the image. I mean, you see a lot of people that are criminals And
I see a lot of people who have made cascades of bad choices in their lives, and their tattoos reflect that.
Yes.
Like, you don't make bad choices everywhere else in your life and start making good choices about your tattoo.
yeah, that's probably... That's not the time to change directions to something positive and
Right.
Plus, it's really hard. I mean, unless you just kind of want to write like believe or something. Like it's really
but then it's going to be spelled wrong.
right.
Yeah.
You know?
No regrets.
No
In other
regrets.
words,
No
Yes.
regrets.
You're not going to have the kind of tattoo that my granddaughter has on her shoulder, like a John Green quote, which is, this inspirational thing.
Who's John Green?
He's a writer who is good with young adults, teens, young adults.
Like V.C. Andrews?
I don't know.
I'm dating myself there, big time.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Flowers in the Attic.
But he had a tattoo.
Oh, yeah. So going towards the great tomorrow is not something that they're going to have on their shoulders. It's going to be something like die.
Okay, so I had a
Misspelled.
when
Misspelled.
when I worked at another salon, we had a girl who had a tattoo on her forearm, hairstylist. And this I don't care what something says. If I can't really read the whole thing passing by, it's too much.
Yeah, you have to sit there and study it.
Right. So this
Which is a weird thing to do to somebody.
This was like a pretty large quote, and when I mean by large, that means too many words, which makes a big tattoo.
Yeah, and lots of potential for misspellings.
Yes. And I remember when she first came here, one of the girls that worked there said, "Oh, wow, what's your tattoo say?" And she grabbed it and she read it, the girl that was asking her that, and it didn't really make any sense to her. And she said, "Oh, that's great. I have no idea what that means." Is what kind of her response was.
Mm-hmm.
Which I felt kind of weird, because it really means something to this girl, right? You're tattooing it. But yet, it really didn't make much sense.
Well, what was it?
I can't even remember
Oh.
it. I mean, I can't,
It made so little sense you can't remember.
Yeah,
it
it wasn't profound. It wasn't like something that I think, wow, I'll remember that forever. I'm
it wasn't
thinking
like-
about tattooing that
Yeah.
on Brian.
Like,
But it
wherever
won't
you
be
go,
a-
there you are.
I mean,
But it wasn't remember to get groceries today.
no. And speaking of this, we still have our poll up right now because we're extending it another month because I'll be honest, Brian's uncomfortable with what's leading right now. Okay?
You think?
So I say, if you want to save Brian's finger,
Go with Judy and vote for the colonoscopy.
you have to get on there and vote.
Well, and if whoever cares about my colon health,
Yes.
the choice is
Yes.
clear.
How could
You're
the choice
due
not
for
be
a
clear?
colonoscopy.
Right.
He's due for a colonoscopy.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't want to be maimed and lose part of a finger.
Right.
And the neck tattoo is borderline.
No, it's not borderline.
Oh, I thought that
not
was
for
borderline.
him.
No, tattoo is a possibility. Neck tattoo is not a possibility.
But
No.
we said high shoulder.
Yeah.
I get to decide where it goes.
But here's the deal. Just think about, if you want to talk about this, think about how many customers or, I guess, clients, potential clients you'll have that you gain major street cred.
With a neck tattoo?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not the kind of
Major.
street cred I'm looking for.
Well, here's the deal. You're already in on the courts. They all know who you are.
Right.
Then the neck tattoo is not going to take them off the Brian Buffard train.
Oh,
is
it might.
Really?
Oh,
it
yeah.
might. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You show me I was going to say, you show me a professional who has a neck tattoo, or who gets a neck tattoo, something's psychologically going on there.
Judy, we always
Something not good.
Whenever it's psychological, we look towards you.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
You got,
I got nothing.
Like,
I
so
have no clue.
well, is there? Do you think
I
that?
would go on. I would.
Do you think that somebody that does that is having some kind of psychological mishap? Let's just say, is that a good?
Fair enough.
Well, it would depend on when they get this neck
Like,
tattoo.
okay, so-
if they get it in college,
Nope. Brian is 50.
Yep.
So let's say
Then-
they did it at
But
50.
if they get it at 50, I would say a neck tattoo, you would not be thought of as being very professional. I mean, you would have had some trauma,
right?
Like you might have something on there like screw cancer,
but not on your neck.
But probably not on your neck.
Yeah,
you have it on your shoulder or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to stand up in front of 12 people on a jury with a neck tattoo.
Well, you wear a tie and you button up. You can't see
it. That's for my client.
High shoulder.
And we're talking
high shoulder.
Yeah.
We're talking high shoulder here, people.
Just on the shoulder.
High shoulder.
No. Not even high shoulder. No.
It's kind of like a bottle of wine. You know, you have like a shoulder, like your fill count. I think you got to get at least. I mean, you can't get it, pec.
And you can't get it lower back.
No.
You could get it on your shoulder.
Let's go. Let's do this. What percentage of tattoos for first-time tattooers, first time they get one, they go to the neck?
Ooh.
No, I wouldn't think very many.
I wouldn't think very many either.
Shoulder or arm. Yeah, shoulder.
Yeah.
I'd say there's a high probability if you're going into the neck tattoo, you've run out of real estate.
Not necessarily.
If you get a neck tattoo, you probably don't own any real estate.
No. I mean, like on your body.
I'm talking about actual real estate.
You've run out of real estate.
I think
on
you're
your
a renter.
Body. Right.
I've seen some hairstylists who had little scissors right there.
Yeah, I've seen.
Okay, now you're pointing to like at your back of the neck hairline.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that is maybe a little different because if you have long hair, you can hide that.
Yeah.
Right. The neck tattoos I'm used to seeing are these big like Gothic letters that say "baby girl" or
Baby
Rodriguez
girl.
or something on them.
So what you're
I
saying,
like baby girl on the guy's neck.
And again,
That would be cool.
I'm curious because I'm in kind of a fashion industry where tattoos are, man, if there's an industry that's still quote unquote professional as we can be as hairdressers, and have acceptance of tattoos, it's probably my industry.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But what I am hearing is that for a lot of other people, it's not run of the mill. It's not part of the like you're saying in your profession.
Right.
It would affect you.
Absolutely.
And so is there still, are we saying now that because we're gonna go years from now, there's gonna be a bunch of people with tattoos because they don't go away.
Yeah.
So are we saying that these people are still they're pigeonholing what they can do for a living?
To an extent, yes.
No matter what.
Well, or successfully.
Well, you mean they can't be a successful doctor, or they can't be?
I mean, I don't know.
A successful accountant.
I don't think you could be a successful trial lawyer with some sort of gaudy neck tattoo.
And you say that a lot of the guys that you see, a lot of clients, they have them on their hands.
Yeah, hands and neck. And
do you
face.
And do you think that's so other... Because there's a part of it where I think maybe if someone's proud of their tattoo, they want other people to see it.
If it's a recognition thing?
Yeah. I rarely see someone so proud of their tattoo that they want their jury to see it. I think that the pride you get from your neck tattoo exists among your peer group, not among the people who are judging you.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing. We're going to come back because we're going to talk about two different people viewing you, people that you need to help you, and then just your regular folk, and see if that makes a difference. Okay, Mick Perrotti, a little off the top. We'll be right back.
Dear young people,
don't vote.
Don't vote.
Everything's fine the way it is.
Trump. That was us.
He's our guy.
Tax cuts for the rich? Hell yeah. I'm rich as
Climate change? That's a you problem. I'll be dead soon. Sure, school shootings are sad.
But I haven't been in a school for 50 years.
I can't keep track of which lives matter.
Sure you don't like it.
So, you'll like some meme on Instagram.
If the weather is nice, maybe you could go to one of those little marches.
But you won't vote.
You young people never do.
But I do. I do.
I do. Midterms, primaries.
Every single election.
We'll be there, but you won't.
Because we're a generation of doers.
Not whiners.
We're doing great.
All right. We're back. So we're going to go a little further into this because Brian's brought up an interesting point while we were sitting here. That I'm guessing that you as their attorney trying to do what's best for them and knowing that you have to influence 12 of our peers.
Right.
All of
using the
whom
word
have-
peers very loosely
Right.
because you're not tried by your peers.
Right.
You're
No.
tried by people who couldn't get out of jury duty.
Oh.
Or who didn't want to get out of jury
Or,
duty.
yeah, or who didn't want to get out of jury duty.
Felt that they were like me.
Yeah.
that I should be.
You are tried
on
by
jury
your
duty.
fellow human beings. I'll give you that.
Whenever
Yeah.
I've gotten jury duty, I just go up there and say, "Hey, I was had a criminal possession of marijuana, and it's been deferred to adjudication, but it was a felony." And they say, "You don't have to do it," even though I know now I have to. But
Well, you can't.
they blocked me off, man.
Yeah,
Never-
they could let you out for that, but you
Yeah.
can't demand
Yeah.
to be let
no,
out. For
No.
that.
No, I'm saying they've taken me off the list. I'm never called for jury duty anymore.
Oh,
It's great.
good for you.
Yes, but you would tell them, because you're trying to obviously present them the best way possible.
Right.
So let me ask you this. If you had, let's say 10 years from now, you're still doing law, which is a high probability,
Mm-hmm.
and a majority of Americans and jurors are sporting tattoos, where you, as an attorney, can see it. Okay?
Right.
Would there ever be a time, because you think it would benefit your client? We're thinking ahead now. You're thinking like the world is changing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
10 years from now. Could it be possible that you would say to them, "Hey, I want you to show that neck tattoo because..."
Well, and don't get me wrong. Depending on my client's life story, and depending on what I'm going to be presenting to the jury, it may be very important for them to see his neck tattoo. I'm just saying, generally speaking, we get judged on first impressions all the time.
And then it's hard to change.
And it's hard to change. And people with neck tattoos, just as an example, are often perceived as being scary, untrustworthy, unintelligent. I mean, and that may or may not be actually true in any given case. But as a lawyer, I always have to be mindful of what do I think the jury is thinking when they look at my client, right? Mm-hmm. So if I've got a client with a bunch of prison tattoos, that's a very different approach that I have to take as opposed to a client who doesn't have prison tattoos.
What if it was a tattoo of a heart that said "Mom"?
I don't know.
Because, Mom was a big tattoo back in the day.
Yeah,
John.
big Navy tattoo.
Yes.
Big Navy tattoo.
Yeah, or mother.
Which is funny because we all knew, and Brian was in the Navy, that Navy were kind of mama's boys. We know that Brian... I know Brian wasn't because I know his mother's history and story.
Well,
there.
you know what the Marines say.
What they say.
They say, yeah, we're part of the Department of the Navy. We're the men's department.
Well...
That got really quiet just then.
Well, here's the deal. Anytime the Marines, you gotta like Semper Fi, isn't that what they do the whole thing, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like I would love, as much as I see Brian in constant battle with authority or any other kind of legislative movement, regimed and scheduled thing, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall while you were in boot camp in the Navy.
It was great. I loved the whole time I was in, and I was with the Marines,
Right.
so it's not like they shirk their drill and their ceremonies.
Yes, I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I would have liked to have been a witness to that.
So
Have you seen on my Facebook page? I posted a couple weeks ago a picture from back then when I had no hair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to show you.
So, do any of the Marines or people like that get neck tattoos? Military guys?
Well, yes and no. I mean, first of all, you come from all walks of life when you join any of the services. So you've done things before you get there. Sometimes you can get waivers for certain kinds of tattoos. If you have a swastika tattoo that's visible, you're probably not going to get in. I think you probably shouldn't get in if you have it, even if it's not visible. But that's just
You
my
best
opinion.
make it into a windmill.
Right.
I mean,
and they have a tattoo policy where there's certain, like, sometimes sleeves are are allowable, and then they weren't, and now they are again. And so it's something that the leadership wrestles with over time. Because they want you to look good in the uniform, and that goes back to my argument. If you've got a bunch of neck tattoos or face tattoos, and I see that too. I mean, people tattooing their face.
Like, what do they put on their face? Like I always thought it was just the prison teardrop.
Yeah, you got the teardrop. Sometimes you'll have something on your, like a no regrets on your forehead. Something like that. That just
that is a regret.
What kind of job are you gonna get? Probably not a good one.
I used to say I wanted a tattoo all over my whole body of me, but just a little bit taller.
Interesting.
Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that tattoo adds just a little. It's an exact replica of me.
Uh-huh.
I think it'd take a while. And I will say, all of us here, none of us have a tattoo.
Oh, I do.
Oh, Judy has a tattoo.
Yes, I do. I have eyeliner tattooed.
That's not a tattoo. That doesn't count.
And my husband has a wedding ring tattoo.
At what age are you too old to put your wife or your girlfriend's name or your boyfriend's name on your body?
I wouldn't even put my husband's name on my body.
I would never put someone's name on my body.
No.
Because I do see it sometimes, and I've had very straight-laced clients who have never done a tattoo that, like, lose a child, and, like, a guy, or even sometimes a woman will get a tattoo somewhere.
Okay.
That. So
now that you say that, yes, I could see myself doing that.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
But other than that, like my friend Matt, he has a bunch of tattoos, back, all over his body. Like, not so much coming down his arms, or at least not to his hands, but he's got a lot of tattoos. And when his dog died, he put a big old portrait of his dog on him, and
but not the dog's name.
I don't know if the name was, maybe not. I think it was for him. In other words, the name was for other people. You don't need to put the name if it looks like your dog. You have to really trust the tattoo artist, I would think.
Yeah, and that's another issue.
Because you're halfway through. Can you imagine bringing a photograph of a pet? Okay,
or your infant son,
right? Or your infant son, or Richard Nixon, right. like Roger Stone has.
Right?
Could you imagine bringing a portrait, and you get halfway there, and you're looking down, and of course, if anybody's seen a tattoo being done, it's kind of red, it's kind of bloody. They're wiping the blood away. They're this and that. They're doing that. So it's not like you get a really good read on what it looks like. Do you know what I'm saying?
But you do get the transfer thing that they put on there. I mean, he's not just doing it freehand.
No.
Typically.
No, they're doing a transfer.
Yeah. So you can see exactly where it's going to be in the outline of what it's going to look like.
No color added to it.
With no color, right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they add the color in.
But what if
they're not a good tracer?
Right. I mean, I can pattern something over it and trace it, but it's still not great.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you went halfway there?
Well, yeah, I can imagine because I see it every single day in the jailhouse.
Okay, so give me a top five worst tattoos you've ever seen.
I mean, I can't describe any in specific detail, but I can say it almost always involves words.
Yes.
It almost always involves the words being misspelled.
Oh.
And it almost always involves it looks like a 4-year-old scribbled it
like
in
bathroom
kindergarten.
wall stuff.
That's barely legible, so you kind of look at like, what does that say?
If it looks like it's been written on the bathroom wall, it's probably a bad tattoo. You don't see a lot of great penmanship. My favorite bathroom wall is I saw in like black ink, it said, "I slept with your mom last night." And then underneath it said, "Dad, go home, you're drunk." And, that to me, in like a different ink, so obviously like it looked like someone else
responded to it.
Someone else responded to it. Right. I always felt that, and I will say this, maybe it's just the kind of bathrooms I go in now. They're a little cleaner, a little bit more upscale.
I do not see.
But I don't see, you don't see bathroom art or, really inspiring restroom wall.
Well, that's right. So imagine, I'm just throwing this out there, let's say you like to hang art in your home. and you have certain artists that you like that you think do beautiful work, would you go to the local kindergarten and pick just a random, unrelated to you 4-year-old or 5-year-old to draw you a picture and then have that matted and framed in your house, with their scribble of, you told them to write something too, so they've got this bad handwriting and all that. I mean, would you want to look at that every day? Probably not, right?
I mean, if it's your kid,
if it's your, I'm not saying it's not your kid.
It's not your kid.
Just the quality of the art is terrible.
It's not up to par.
I mean, the other thing I see oftentimes is real dated references. That were like Where's the Beef, or something that was arguably semi-funny back in the 90s.
I guess catchphrases.
Yeah. Attempts at humor on your tattoos, I would say, are generally a bad idea. Because jokes don't last like that.
If I'm going to ever tattoo a joke on my body, it's going to be a good, solid Friar joke from 1950. That's hung. It's held the test of time.
And it has to be a short joke.
Oh yeah. Unless I get bigger.
Well, you can.
Which I may be in the process of doing.
Well, and you know what it is, everybody, and it's going to be scary because, we're at the beginning of getting into the eating season. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you get through October, you've got kids, candy, and all that stuff around, and then you plow through just constant eating from now till the end of the year. I mean, at least I do.
Yeah, I don't really do that.
You don't do that?
I don't do that either.
No?
No. I kind of get sick of it because I cook more then, and I don't like to eat my own cooking, really. I mean, I'm a pretty good cook, but
that doesn't sound like
Well, no, I'm an okay cook, but I don't, once I cook it, I don't really...
Do you taste it while you cook
tired of it. Sometimes, yeah. It depends on what kind of recipe I'm using.
Okay,
Right.
and it's funny, I never really thought about this, and as much as I love to cook, and I consider myself, like Judy, a pretty decent cook.
You're a great cook.
Yeah.
But yet, I always like what somebody else cooks for me better.
I do too. It's like when I cook it, I'm tired of it. I'm already tired of it by the time I sit down to eat it, unless it's something that I really, really have been craving.
Yeah, I like to cook and enjoy what I'm about to eat.
Yeah. So,
I'm excited to eat what I cook.
I just find, like, when the summer's finally over, I don't eat as much. Like, I mean, like when I went to the Ranger games, and now everybody, like, this is it. The stadium's done. Right? I mean, Billy Joel concert's coming up in the middle of the month.
In the new stadium?
No, in the old stadium.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the 13th of October or something like that. But that's it. The Rangers are done. Their baseball life at the ballpark in Arlington is over.
Do you agree that the ballpark in Arlington was ready to die, or could it have lasted another 40 years?
Oh.
Well, okay, so
easily.
I've been a season ticket holder for about a decade now. And I was against the new stadium.
Yeah.
I don't like covered stadiums. I thought this ballpark was great.
It is great.
It was beautiful.
I was there on opening day.
Yep, I was too.
Yeah.
Of the when it was built.
Yeah, I was there on the first day it was built, and the first time they had a baseball game, and I was there on the last day.
Aww.
So that's kind of, a little sad. But what's weird is that you think that the Ranger ballpark really isn't that old. I think it's 25 years old, 24 years
something
old.
like that.
But it's like there's only like if you count refurbished ballparks, Rangers ballpark is like 12th oldest. It's amazing how many new ballparks have been built.
I know that
since the Rangers.
I know that I would go to more baseball games if it were enclosed, just because it's so hot in the summer here, and it's probably going to get hotter. So maybe this is a good deal for them. I don't know.
Yeah, we were there kind of the end of August, when it was hot. Marcy and I went to a game, and our seats are in the shade, so there's no sun where we sit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just heat.
So hot.
But I'm going to tell you, and Judy, Marcy, she gets hot. She can get hot quick. She's not a big sweater. Marcy's not a big sweater.
I'm a big sweater.
But she'll get hot. you know. And she was shocked. When you sit in our seats, the wind starts blowing.
Yeah.
And it feels really good out there. I mean, even when it's 97 degrees with the wind blowing. Now, the walk from the parking lot to the stadium,
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
it's hot.
I'm wilted by the time I do
Right.
that.
And then when you get inside the stadium, the concession area is muggy because you don't get the wind. But when you get into the ballpark and you sit down,
It's great.
it's really, and see, this is what I'm gonna miss. And I think what you say is what a lot of people say. They say, oh, if they had a roof and it was air conditioned, I'd go to more baseball games. But they don't. You see, they don't. So Judy may say, okay, I haven't been to a game in 3 years, and now I'm going to go to 2 games in the next 3 years.
Well, I do go.
You say?
I do go. I just don't enjoy it. I go, like, Palmer works with the youth at the church, and so I'll go with them sometimes, and I'll go with other people, you know, but I don't, I mean, I enjoy baseball, just to sit there and watch it. I don't watch it on television, but I watch it, you know, when I'm there. And God, my dad loved baseball, and I think that reminds me of him, but that heat is brutal.
Yeah, it's an old man. Like, as everybody here knows, I'm a baseball fan. And, you know, last year, you know, I was happy as could be because my Red Sox won the World Series. And this year it just wasn't meant to be.
Right.
You know, and, you know, that some people will always say, you always have next year. Well, our Red Sox group, our quote is, there's always last year. So whenever we want to feel good about something, we don't really look to the future because even then that might not be good.
Might not happen.
But we look at last year and it
think,
makes us all feel good. So for me, this is the toughest time because baseball's coming to an end and football's here. And, you know, I mean, I like football.
Go Frogs.
I like gambling on football a lot. But I think as far as watching it now, it's a yawner for me. And I know y'all disagree. I know y'all think that, you know.
And you hate basketball.
Oh, yeah, I can't even watch basketball.
You hate basketball?
I'm going to make a prediction, though. I'm going to make a prediction right now. John, I want you to write this down.
All right.
If the Dallas Cowboys don't go far in the playoffs, and there's a high probability that maybe they don't even get there, who knows? Jason Garrett's going to get fired. This is the year.
If they don't make the playoffs.
If they don't go far into the playoffs.
What's far?
Winning 2 games. Getting to the championship game or the Super Bowl.
Okay.
All right, we're not going to talk football because I hate it. Okay, but we do want to talk about presidential styles and what we can do. Maybe Brian's going to wonder where some president can get a tattoo to give them a little bit more oomph. Okay, Mick Perrotti, a little off the top. We'll be right back.
Dear young people,
Don't vote.
Don't vote.
Everything's fine the way it is.
Trump. That was us.
He's our guy.
Tax cuts for the rich? Hell yeah. I'm rich as
climate change? That's a you problem. I'll be dead soon. Sure, school shootings are sad.
But I haven't been in a school for 50 years.
I can't keep track of which lives matter.
Sure you don't like it.
So, you'll like some meme on Instagram.
If the weather is nice, maybe you could go to one of those little marches.
But you won't vote.
You young people never do.
But I do. I do.
I do. Midterms, primaries.
Every single election.
We'll be there, but you won't.
Because we're a generation of doers.
Not whiners.
We're doing great.
All right, we're back. So what we're going to do is we're going to fuse, like, I don't know, maybe 9 of our last 12 things we've talked about over the last 6 months into this segment. It's going to be like...
That's a challenge.
It's going to be amazing. This is going to be like a little off-the-top stew, okay? We're adding so many ingredients. Don't get me wrong, some of them... They're
not so great.
No, well, I thought maybe that they, I didn't want it to be bad. Like I don't want it to I don't want it to be poisonous. I don't want the stew to not be edible.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
It has to at least not have decomposed and rotted. So John will have to let us know if any of the things didn't work. We'll have to just find that out. But what we're going to do is take our comb-over presidential styles, what Brian was talking about with tattoos, we're going to put them all together into this segment, and we're going to talk about the people that are running. I mean, we're almost a year away, people. People are falling down and getting out of things like crazy. Okay, so there's some people that are presidential hopefuls, and then there's a president. And I'm curious, from a style standpoint and fashion standpoint, is there anything, like I remember I was writing for Fort Worth Magazine back in the mid-'90s, early 90s, and Bill Clinton was running for president. And I was quoted then that if Bill Clinton wins, Hillary Clinton will cut her hair and she'll go into kind of a layered bob and she'll kind of push it back and she'll become a little bit more, first lady-ish. Because she had very long hair, if you remember when Clinton first got nominated. And I made a quote. I realize it's a different era, but there weren't many first ladies. I mean, you go back to Lincoln's wife and stuff like that, but there weren't many first ladies who had really long hair. And I made a quote then that said if he wins or gets the nomination or something like that, she's going to do that. And she did. So I was making the prediction then. So I feel like I may be... I realize, y'all, that I'm a professional here. And
yes, you are.
I'm asking people here who don't really do this for a living, but you're on a little off the top because you have what it takes to see that.
We have the commitment.
Well, we don't know yet. The poll will tell us that, and then you'll prove your commitment. Judy's in. Don't be Brian. Don't be weeing us right now.
All right.
Judy is committed.
I think I'm committed too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think that I think we're all together because when it comes to style and that little thing that the average person sometimes doesn't see, I think both of y'all do. Okay, so what do we think? We're going to kind of go through the list of people. What we think somebody can do. From even it obviously could be hair. We'll focus on that right away. But it could be hair, clothes. It could be a very strategically place tattoo. Nowadays it's capping teeth. I always said that like Lou Dobbs and Donald Trump have proven one thing, that you go a little senile once you start capping your teeth. And if you notice, if there's a guy over 75 that puts caps on his teeth and looks all thing, there's a high probability he's saying some real crazy stuff out of his mouth.
Like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of them. It's weird that that's the new thing now.
Does Trump have capped teeth?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Okay.
Yes. So let's look at that. Like let's start with capping teeth. Any candidate out there that could change their teeth a little bit?
I don't notice that. No,
you don't notice that?
I don't think I do either.
I think that Elizabeth Warren could, perhaps a nice soft scarf would be nice. Occasionally for Elizabeth Warren.
I
just
totally against that.
Because she already looks so businesslike, and that might soften her up for some people. Certainly not for me. I don't care.
Too girly.
No,
she needs to be tough enough for the fight ahead.
And they already know she is. She's got a plan for everything.
Yeah. But what would a scarf do to enhance that?
It would soften that image just a little bit around her face.
I'm thinking like that reminds me of like Serpico.
I'm just
I do.
Hey, I'm just throwing things out there. You may not like them.
Here's the deal. The last thing a female candidate can do is emphasize anything more that she is a female.
I disagree.
Could a guy do the scarf?
Okay. The only thing
could a guy do this? Could a guy do the scarf?
No.
Okay, why?
Because guys don't wear
there you
Hermes
go.
scarves.
There you go.
Hermes.
Could a guy do a bra?
Christie
they
could.
wanted to.
Christie could.
Christie
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. No, but
Trump probably could.
Yeah,
he could wear a man's ear.
Mm-hmm.
A bro.
The thing about it is, sometimes people don't like women who are not feminine. They do not like them. I mean, I hear them say that.
The scarf.
Well, she's just
Hillary Clinton
trying
is
to be a
evidence for
man.
that.
She's just trying to be a man. And so, for one debate, not all the time, just enough to throw people off a little bit. I would like to see her soften that image just a smidge and then go back to the same way. You've got to keep people off balance on things like that.
Can you imagine what the media, Fox News, and Trump would do if Warren, for strategic reasons, to look more feminine, put a scarf on, and then it became like, Scarfgate. I mean, it's just...
I don't even think...
Yeah.
No.
They went nuts when Obama wore a tan suit.
If she did it, I mean, I'm not even saying that she ought to do it on television. I think she ought to do it, just on and off.
Yeah.
Every weird time, every once in a while.
Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing.
But not just once, because if you did it just once, then they do something weird with it. But if you did it unpredictably,
I just think a scarf has an impression that I just...
And I'm not talking about a frilly scarf.
No, I got you. I got you.
Just a
Here's what if I had to make a list for Warren, I would say, 1, try to ditch the glasses. Okay, either contacts and or some kind of surgery that means you don't have to wear glasses. 2, I would strategically place costume jewelry in certain areas. A cute ring, something around her neck, fun earrings, fun earrings. Okay, she has short hair, she can show them off. Makeup. I would try to just be a little bit more made up. Somewhere between where Elizabeth Warren is and where the average Fox News host is. Somewhere in the middle.
Great hair.
Yeah.
And great skin.
She has great hair.
Oh my God, she's got great skin.
But she doesn't necessarily have a great haircut.
No, I agree.
Or,
I agree.
which happens a lot with women, is they have a good cut. I'm not going to blame the stylist. But they tend, and Warren, she's what I would call the no business woman. She likes all her hair off her face. Mm-hmm. She likes pushing it to the sides, backwards. She likes pushing the top away from her face. And that in itself brings on a look that's a little less feminine. The more you dance, hair around your face, like Melania will dangle it in her face or stuff like that, I think it looks a little bit more feminine. So for Warren, those would be mine. Like I ditch the glasses, and then even try to put a little bit of fun hair color in there. Get a little bit of highlights in there. Bright, doesn't have to be blonde, but something that just is a little less blue collar looking. What do you think?
I know you don't know this reference, but I take more of a Wayne from Letterkenny view on this, and that is, I don't say what girls should do.
Mm-hmm. Well, but this is.
I'm pointing at you right now.
No,
Brian,
I'm not telling her what she should do.
I think you're lovely.
No, because I think this is about fashion.
Yeah,
and very much like Brian, he sure would tell the female that he's representing who has a neck tattoo not to expose that.
Sucker up.
So I disagree with
Okay,
this.
there are some instances in which I will tell a girl what she should do.
Okay, so
you've nailed it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do think what we're trying to do is see what could make somebody. And here's the sad thing: when it comes to the guy, it's about what makes him more presidential.
Why is it not about what makes her more presidential?
Because this is the problem with society and what the claims are that they try to do to women.
It's hard for women
right.
out there. It's hard for a pimp out there.
Well, because what happens is for a woman, it's not about what makes her more presidential. The scarf doesn't make her more presidential. They have to juggle between trying to look decisive and presidential and tough and still have an attraction,
be a bitch.
Right, an attraction that makes people like. The reality is a lot of people that voted for Sarah Palin and McCain, they wanted to have sex with Sarah Palin. I mean, that's how crazy it was. That part of that attraction worked. Do you see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
I don't know that you agree with it.
I don't know that I'm sure it's true.
I don't agree with this.
I just don't agree with
It's a very big balancing act for women who really want to be in charge.
Well,
it is just because if you're not feminine, then you don't want that.
Right.
I mean, people don't like that. And then if you are feminine, well, people don't like that. So you're just really caught in the middle of being professional, but not too formal, and not
cater to
too,
the lowest common denominator.
You really just have to kind of. It's a hard road to hoe.
Yeah.
I remember.
And you're trying to get votes as a candidate.
Right.
You bet.
Well, and here's the deal. It all comes down to one thing when you're running for office. How do I get people to like me?
Mm-hmm.
Likability is everything. So it could be likability because you're tough and you stand firm on abortion rights. Or you could be likable because you're good looking. You know? I mean, if you're good looking, people are going to like you already. Now, don't get me wrong. You can be good looking, say something horrible. They don't like you, but you're in closer.
You're ahead of the game.
Okay, you're ahead of the game. You could be some people, depending on what your lifestyle is, right? There's people who, like there's a lot of people, just because Pete Buttigieg is gay, don't like him. There's some people that look at that and go, man, I like that guy, just because of that. Because they think, wow, he's comfortable, he's open, he talks about his husband just like I talk about my wife.
Yep. I think he's great.
Right, and people like that.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is that I remember when Hillary was running, my Aunt Midge said, why is it that they always talk about what she's wearing and they never talk about what the guy's wearing?
Right.
I said, well, because the guy doesn't have an option on what he can wear. And this is part of the problem with
men's
women.
suits and ties are pretty uniform.
You know what I'm saying?
Yang never wore anything except a shirt.
Who?
Yang. Andrew Yang.
Oh.
Yeah, he never wore anything but
No, hey,
that's the last time anyone will hear that name.
That's right. Yes. Well, did he drop? He's gone. He's out of the
He's got to be gone.
Although the crying thing kind of helped and it kind of hurt. Did you see that clip a few months back?
I don't think so.
Where he was discussing about the shooting.
And he saw his own children.
And he says, all I could do was think about my own kids. And I mean, he literally was broke down.
Yeah.
And I thought, again, if you think 1950s Trump style, well, there's a wussy right there. And then you get another one that's 21st century that says, wow, this person moves me because he's moved, because he can put himself, in that situation.
Yeah, he has basic human empathy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is in short supply.
It is in short supply.
And people don't really care about that. Okay, so let's take Biden. He's borderline comb over. Okay,
is he borderline or is he full on comb over?
Well,
he's not like
I think
bald.
I think he got plugs. So he
all bets are off.
I'm not sure.
I think he's gotten plugs.
I don't know.
So I think the style is comb over, okay, but not purely for denial anymore. In other words, I think the style's there.
Yeah.
But okay, so you don't see Biden casual very often. Okay, you may see the occasional khaki Biden.
Yeah.
But most of and that's another thing, is these guys have to wear suits. I got to tell you now, I could never trust anyone that wears a suit all day long. Right? I mean,
now,
I don't want to sound like a hippie from 19...
Like now, it is really... I don't know that people wear suits very much unless they're in, like...
I think there's still a
profession
lot of them,
that has to wear suits.
Brian,
like
how often
Brian
you wear a
does.
suit? When you go to the jail, you're always in a suit?
Never.
No.
Never in the... Oh, unless I'm coming from court.
Yeah.
Every
and
time
specifically,
you go to court,
if I'm coming from a jury trial. I usually don't wear a full-on suit unless I'm in front of a jury.
What about just like tie, shirt, pants,
Yep.
sport coat?
Yep. Not as often. I mean, it's Fort Worth, Texas in the summertime.
Do you see the sport coat not matching the pants? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, I see that all the time. Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at Booker. Okay. So, I said this and I voted for Obama. I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest. And and America was ready. You know, obviously, we may not have been ready after we've seen how we've acted since then.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it comes to Booker, you know, I kind of have this theory that, like, okay, we went kind of like, you know, Obama, half white, half black, with a good head of hair.
Beige.
Yes, good head of hair. And I think we're a long ways away from a bald black president.
Do you?
I mean, that's just...
I bet our next black president will be bald.
I think I may take that bet.
I mean...
I may take that
Booker,
bet. John's going
to... a male. I mean, obviously, if Kamala Harris wins, you know, she's not going to shave her head.
Oh, it could have been...
I got out of that at the last second.
You see what he did there?
The next male black president is going to be bald.
The next... I'm going to... Well, because we got the Jeffries guy. Is he... He's got hair. No, he doesn't. Right? The Jeffries guy from South Carolina or something like that.
Don't know.
I'm not gonna take this bet right yet.
Our next male black president will be Marcellus Wallace.
Because Marcellus Wallace was right. I can tell you right now. I think
that's
Big
a great slogan.
I think that's exactly. I got to tell you right now. He should run just because we already have the slogan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why'd you pick Marcellus Wallace?
Because Marcellus Wallace was right.
But Booker looks like an ex-football player.
Right.
I mean, he does.
Yeah.
He absolutely looks like he could kick some rear.
But again, like I think I would like to here's what's funny. I don't think Obama looked great casual. He kind of wore mom jeans sometimes.
I don't
recall.
know.
He didn't like when he was in jeans and just casual. He's you know really thin.
Mm-hmm.
You know he didn't like Booker might wear that better. You know I will say. What about if? What would happen if somebody, and we're not going to go neck tattoo because we know where Brian already thinks about that, but talk about commitment to this country, like the commitment to this show. What if somebody tattooed the presidential seal
before winning the presidency
on their body? Like they show with like an American flag, like the flag lapin that they all wear on.
They could get by with the flag. They could tattoo the flag. They could not tattoo the presidential seal.
Agreed.
That would be arrogant and presumptuous, and people don't like that stuff.
Okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to have to. I think what's going to happen is Harris or Warren will see a change in the hairstyle. Harris will go a little shorter. Warren will go a little blonder. That's my prediction.
Kamala Harris is ever going to go shorter.
That's my prediction. Okay, so here's the deal. Next episode. Okay, we're going to do some WWMS. What would Mick say? Okay, and you know what I'm concerned with?
That's going to be fun.
I'm concerned with what happened to the Sloppy Joe. It's something
the
that we
sandwich?
grew up. Yeah, it's gone.
It is gone.
So
You're right.
we're going to talk about that. That's going to be. We're going to see if we can get back on the comb over kind of talk level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and dig Sloppy Joes and what would Mick say?
Yes, maybe we do them together.
Not what would Mick do?
Right.
I
No,
don't
what would
want
Mick say?
Sloppy Joes to come back because I don't like them.
Well, we know. Girls never did. This is Mick Perrotti with Judy, Brian, Little Off the Top. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.